our upcoming voting. Then we'll move to department reports and planning, and then a presentation by Ty and Bond regarding the water sewer asset management plan. Then we'll move into action items, old business, new business, approval of minutes, citizens forum, and executive session. With that, we are calling this meeting also with the FinCom. So if you want to call your meeting, Jim.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I'd like to call to order the February 17th meeting of the Sturbridge Finance Committee. We'll be attending this at the courtesy of the Select Board and the Town Administrator, and we thank you for that. Thank you.
Always. With that, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. As is our custom, I'd like to take a moment of silence, and unfortunately, this moment of silence is for our brothers and sisters in Rhode Island, where there was remarkably another mass shooting. And I just pray or keep the families of those impacted in their heart, and just sort of think of what are we going to do as a society to stop this, because this has to end. So please take a moment of silence. Thank you. Public service announcements. Mary Lou?
Yes, the town clerk would like everyone to know that this Friday is the last day that you can take out nomination papers.
Great. Thank you, Mary Lou. Chase?
Nothing from me, thank you.
Mary?
I just want to give a shout out to the Trails Committee and Frost. They put up some beautiful ice sculptures over the weekend, and I had an opportunity to walk the trails at Riverlands, and they did a great job. The theme was America. They had a Liberty Bell, Statue of Liberty, American flags, and it was just a really great activity, and I know they work really hard on that, so.
I just, want to thank the Sturbridge Police Department, just for, staying broad, just keeping us safe and being here for us when we need it, and we really appreciate you guys. With that, we are, the next scheduled item is a public hearing. I think what we're going to do is probably move to Jean. If you want to come up, Jean. I knew you did your homework last night, All right, Jean.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me, which might be my last formal report to the board.
Not if we don't approve your resignation.
So I won't read everything to you. As usual, I've given you the listing of all the meeting results and activities for the past 6 months. So in the past 6 months, the department has supported 39 meetings for the various boards that we support, including Planning Board, Zoning Board, Design Review, Historic Commission, Affordable Housing Trust, and the Open Space Committee. And so all those results are there for you to review. Notable accomplishments: our community-wide historic survey phase 3 is completed, and that's been sent into the state for all the properties to be included in the MACRIS database. And Janae's in the process of putting those on our website now. So that was a good project, and glad to have that completed. And I'm working on the RFP for phase 4. And what I believe will be the final phase for that. And also the Historic Commission, we had been working with 2 property owners to have their properties, have all the paperwork done to have them nominated for the Historic Register. That's running a little bit behind. The staff that we've been working with at CMRPC had some issues and have gone down to part-time. But we expected those paperwork to be done the 3rd of the month, and it looks like they need another maybe week or 2 to get that work completed. So hopefully that will be done soon. The Noble Energy Project, as you know, I received the MassWorks grant back in 2022, and it looks like we finally have we're this close to Mass DOT final approval, and they've asked the property owner to gift some land in the front of their property for future roadway improvements. So they're working on that final plan now. I believe once that plan is completed, we'll finally have final sign-off and approval. Be nice to see that done before my retirement date. And very excited, the open space plan was approved, and that will now be valid through November of 2035. So you won't have to really think about that until, for 10 years, other than implementation. And the Affordable Housing Trust, we actually held our lottery for the buy-down program last week. That was very exciting. We were able to award two $100,000 grants to two families to purchase homes in town. One is a single person and one is a family. Their identities do remain confidential under state guidelines, but it was very exciting. One of the families came, the grandmother actually had me crying. She was crying and hugging us, and I think it just means a lot to them. I don't think they would have been able to purchase a home without this program, and it was great, very exciting, and kudos to April Griffin in my office for all the hard work that she's put into this. We had a vision to see this program come to reality, and she really did the hard work to make it a reality. And so now she'll work with them to see them through the end of this process. And hopefully some homes will come on the market in that price range so that they can buy something. But spring is coming, so hopefully soon. And
They
we
get
just,
that all at once, right? The
yes, so
grant.
it will be at closing, so.
Or it's their down payment.
Yes, so April will work with Town Council and Barbara to figure out how that will transact, but it will be at closing. So they'll not actually receive that money, it will be at closing.
But it's a lump sum.
It'll be a lump sum toward the price of the home. That's what makes the payments affordable, actually.
Right.
So, and then we are working on the housing production plan, and we hope to finish that by the end of June, maybe July, and send that into the state for approval. We just had a meeting before this meeting, actually, and there will be a survey going out very soon, so please watch Facebook, watch the town's website. Hopefully put some paper copies at the library in this building, and I'll talk to Leslie about leaving some at the senior center as well. So please do participate, it's very important. And then we were able to get district local technical assistance through Central Mass Regional Planning Commission to assist us with the wind, solar, and battery energy storage system bylaws. So it just looked like the timing wasn't going to work with me leaving in August, if you accept my resignation, I know. And so the opportunity came to get technical assistance, and so I reached out to them and we were approved. And we do have Ron Barron, who is a department manager, of the Land Use Division at Central Mass Regional Planning Commission, and he will be working with the Planning Board, the Conservation Commission, and appropriate staff to draft that bylaw. We don't even have final guidance from the state yet, so I think for me to be able to get that done before I left would put us in a precarious position. So this will give you continuity as you look toward a fall town meeting. And then just regular meetings with landowners and property owners, Central Mass Regional Planning Commission meetings, continuing education, and then I have provided you with my notice of retirement, which I know is another agenda item, but if I could just transition into that.
No. Sorry, we're not going to be discussing that this evening. We'll talk about it next September. All right, no, on that note, we will move to action item 1, which is consideration and possible action on accepting the resignation of Town Planner Jean Bouvon, effective August 11th, 2026. And I will just begin by remarking on how special you are, Jean. This is the people like you don't exist in every community. You are, you're to say you're a glue person would estimate how important you are. You're not glue. You're really just the entire structure of the town in many ways. You keep everybody together, and we just couldn't love you more. So, with that, other comments from our
If I
friends?
could, Jamie, Jim, if I could just pop in, I want to
my
thank Jean
conscience.
personally. I apologize.
Go ahead,
Big
Robin.
sister is over watching us.
Yeah, I just want to thank Jean for everything. When I came to town, people with her institutional knowledge and her absolute dedication to the town, I would make it work. And I just want to thank her. And I agree with Jamie. I kind of hope you vote against. That's my recommendation. Thank you.
Mary?
Oh, I also want to, I mean, our chair said it all, but, I read your letter, and it says, "Thank you for the opportunity to serve this remarkable community." And I just want to say thank you for having the opportunity to work with you. You are a remarkable town planner. You're always conscientious. All your work is always thorough, detailed, well-researched, and you have a great collaborative personality, and we're really going to miss you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Yeah, and Gene, I've known you a long time now, long before I was sitting in this seat, and Sturbridge has seen so much positive growth, and you have done every project so correctly, and I can't thank you enough for all you've done for this town. You've been a pleasure to work with, so thank you.
Thank you.
I've told you what my husband said. I'm not going to say that. But suffice to say that he loves working with you, and you've done so much for this town, and thank you.
Thank you. And I loved working with him, and he will definitely be missed. And I will miss you all. And I can't say much more than that because I will get choked up. And I don't cry pretty, I cry ugly. So I won't do that here, but
I
I
was
will
hoping
be.
you lived in Sturbridge, because then we could recruit you to be on a committee and be on the planning board, but
Yeah, I'll definitely be, I will definitely be a visitor to town, but I do have 6 more months. I will do everything in my power to ensure a smooth transition. And we have great staff in the planning department, and I've said this before, everything I've done, I haven't done myself. I've done because I've had longevity with staff, with Diane being there for 13 years, and then Rebecca, and now with Janae and April. I've been very fortunate to have fantastic staff in my department, and Janae and April will continue to serve this town well. I know they will. And I mean it when I say thank you for the opportunity. It is time for me to go.
Well, but that last comment just reflects about why you're so special. And with that, I'm going to make a motion to accept the resignation of Town Planner Jean Bouban, effective August 11th, 2026. Do we have a second?
second.
All right. All those in favor?
I wish you the best.
All right, get back to work, Gene. All right. Okay, we have 2 minutes. Chief, you want to come down? We're going to action item B, which is consideration and possible action on appointing Patrick Cackley as a full-time police officer with an hourly pay rate of $39.16 per hour, effective February 18th, 2026, with the benefits afforded to a 3-year officer. Chief?
Good evening. I'm pleased to bring in front of you Mr. Patrick Cackley. He comes to us from the UMass Police Department. He's also got experience in Holland, East Brookfield, and Charlton. He's coming to us, he started as a full-time with the department back in 2022. He's got some diverse experience throughout the various departments, so I'm glad to bring somebody on board with the experience that he has. And I am requesting that he be appointed as a police officer effective February 18th, 2026 at the hourly rate of $39.16 with the benefits afforded of a 3-year officer excluding longevity.
Thank you, Chief. Questions from the board?
Nothing more.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Patrick Cackley for a full-time police officer effective February 18, 2026, at the hourly rate of $39.16.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
And those are with the benefits afforded a 3-year officer. So all those in favor? Great. Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Congratulations, God bless.
All right, it's 6:45. Mary, could you please call the public hearing?
In accordance with the requirements of Mass General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 11, and the Votes Act of 2022, and effective June 23rd, 2022, Section 25B, the Sturbridge Select Board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, February 17, 2026, at the Sturbridge Town Hall, 308 Main Street, Sturbridge, Mass., to opt out of offering votes by mail and early voting for the local election in April 2026. Any persons interested or wishing to be heard on the issue should appear at the time and place designated.
All right. Lynn?
Yes, Lynn Gerard, Town Clerk. So I bring before you, we have to opt out of vote by mail for the local election, so this is before you. We still offer absentee voting in person during our normal business hours, and anybody requesting a absentee ballot by mail is also an option, those who can't make it to the polls on April 13th.
Okay, great. Questions from the board?
No, I think that's more than reasonable, but
Makes sense.
absentee is fine.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, well, this is a public hearing. Would anybody from the public like to be heard on this matter? All right. Rory, anything? Okay, with that, we need to, motion to close the public hearing.
He's such a cutie.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Great. Do we have a motion on the underlying merits?
I will
Need
make,
a- Go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
No, no, I'm not, you could do it.
I will make a motion to opt out of offering vote by mail and early voting for the local, election in April of 2026.
Second.
All those in favor? Great, thanks,
Thank you
Lynn.
very much.
All right, Robin, we're gonna move to your update, which I believe is mainly the tie and bond presentation.
Yes, it is, and I just want to preface this by saying this is critically important. We have huge projects in our infrastructure. As everybody knows, New England infrastructure is old, and some of our work is 40 years old, and other things are far older with our underground systems. So this is of critical importance. It does impact our water sewer borrowing down the road, and many of these items you might see, you'll have seen on the town meeting warrant. So I think it's really important for the board and the public to hear and understand the importance of these critical infrastructure changes.
Great, thank you, Robin. All right, Heather.
Greetings, I'm Heather Blakely, DPW Director, and I'm going to introduce our team that has put this together for you, and meeting questions, and of course, Shane and I are always here to answer any questions also, but from left to right, I guess. Heather Hebert, Ian Capwell, April Locke, and Abby, oh God, it's gonna be. So they're well with Tie and Bond. They were part of the team that put this asset management program together with us. This was a grant that we got about a year and a half ago through Mass DEP. It's an SRF grant for asset management purposes. It's about a $250,000 project. $50,000 is what cost the town, and the other $200,000 was through Mass DEP. There was also in-kind services that were provided with the water and wastewater treatment plant operators and myself and my staff to provide them information to be able to do this report, along with meetings and evaluations. But with that, we'll let them go through the report and have the thinking of this presentation, and then we'll have any questions.
All right, thanks, Heather. Thank you. All right, go ahead.
Thanks, Heather. Yeah, my name's April Locke. I'll be going over the sewer components of this project, and Abby McNamee will discuss the drinking water portion. So tonight, we'll go over an overview of asset management, our project approach, our findings and recommendations, and we will hold on questions and answers until the end of the presentation, just out of respect of everyone's time. Next slide, please. So this slide shows that there are several goals associated with asset management. They all ultimately result in a proactive decision-making process for communities. Next slide. For this project, we focused on the vertical assets in town, and that was mainly the water and sewer pump stations, the treatment facilities, the water storage tanks, and drinking water wells. We did not review the water and sewer pipes in town. Those are considered horizontal assets. So our approach to this project was to build an asset inventory, review critical infrastructure, conduct a desktop analysis where we assigned scores to each asset that were used to identify improvements and form project recommendations. Next slide. So each asset was assigned a risk based on probability of failure and consequence of failure. Probability of failure is how likely something is to fail based on its physical characteristics, and consequence of failure measures the impact that a failed asset could have. An example of consequence of failure is an old pump and a small booster pump station would have less of an impact if it were to fail compared to an old pump in a large station like the Route 20 sewer pump station, since that serves about 80% of the town. And the matrix on the right just shows as probability of failure and consequence of failure increase, so overall asset risk increases. Next slide. So each asset was assigned probability of failure and consequence of failure on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest. And using the matrix shown on the left, we assigned an asset management strategy to each piece of equipment. We mainly focused on the A and B strategies when forming project recommendations. So those were the critical replace repair and the priority replace repair items. Next slide. So for the sewer portion of the project, we focused on the wastewater treatment facility, 2 chemical feed stations used for odor control, and 10 sewer pump stations. Next slide. So this slide gives an overview of the sewer pump stations that we focused on. The Route 20 sewer pump station conveys about 80% of system flow, and the Hobbsbrook sewer pump station conveys about 20% of flow. So those stations received higher consequence of failure scores compared to the smaller stations shown on this slide. The wastewater treatment facility has a permitted flow of 1.3 million gallons per day. And before the upgrades that were done in 2012, the plant had a permitted flow of 0.75 million gallons per day. The upgrades were done to plan for current and future flow needs, but recently the town has seen users exercising more water conservation, which is why the daily treated flows are below permitted capacity. Next slide, please. So this chart just gives a breakdown of the asset management strategies that were assigned to the sewer pump station and wastewater assets that we evaluated. A few assets fell into the A and B critical and priority replace repair categories due to the proactive maintenance of the town staff. Assets that fell into these higher categories were at the wastewater treatment facility influent screening room, process treatment unit 3, and the Route 20 sewer pump station. And our assessment resulted in several project recommendations that for the next 5 years the town to focus on. But in this presentation, we'll just review projects coming up within the next 1 to 2 years. So the first project is for the wastewater treatment facility influent screening room. This is where raw sewage enters the wastewater plant. It's an extremely corrosive environment before any treatment takes place. 2 rotary drum screens remove solids from the sewage to assist with protecting downstream equipment. The influent fine screens are in poor condition and have reached the end of their useful life, and one of the screens recently stopped working. The concrete channels are also beginning to separate, which is shown in the photos on the left, and the HVAC equipment does not function due to severe corrosion in the room, and staff frequently have to leave the door open when they are in this area for maintenance. Next slide, please. So our recommended project for the influent screening room is to replace the influent fine screens and associated components and to modify and repair the concrete channels as needed. We also recommend replacing the HVAC equipment. Our conceptual level cost estimate for this work is $1.7 million for design and construction, and the cost estimates that we'll be reviewing in this presentation are based on projects of similar scope to what we're recommending. Next slide. The next project is associated with the Route 20 sewer pump station. This facility was constructed in 1969. It's the town's largest sewer pump station. It conveys 80% of flow to the wastewater plant. Majority of the equipment has reached the end of its useful life. Some examples are that the roof leaks, the wet well piping is corroded, and there is a lack of ventilation in the wet well that requires staff to wear hydrogen sulfide monitors when they're in that area for maintenance. The pump station is also located in a FEMA 100-year flood zone, which triggers resiliency requirements to consider during design. And also, if this pump station were to fail, it could overflow, which may impact the town's drinking water supply since one of the wells is under the influence of surface water. So that just further highlights the high consequence of failure for this facility. So our immediate recommendation for the Route 20 sewer pump station is to do a planning study to determine if we can replace and repair equipment to extend their useful life versus a full-scale sewer pump station replacement project. The cost for a new sewer pump station is included on the slide. We are estimating about $4.8 million for design and construction. This is a big investment, which highlights why the planning study is an appropriate first step. The town has funding in place to start the planning study project. And just to note the cost for the new sewer pump station, there's a lot of things that may impact that, like if the station is constructed on a different piece of land, you'd be looking at cost of purchasing the land. And if the station is constructed at the same site as the existing Route 20 station, there may be costs associated with sewer bypass or temporary power during construction. Next slide. The next project we'll touch on is for Process Treatment Unit 3. The main purpose of Process Treatment Unit 3 is to reduce total nitrogen, organics, and total phosphorus. PTU 3 is the largest of the 3 process treatment units at the wastewater treatment facility. The PTUs provide primary and secondary treatment steps at the plant, so they are pretty key for the town to meet effluent permit requirements. The photos shown on this slide of Process Treatment Unit 1 before it was rehabilitated, we assume that the concrete and mechanical structures in PTU 3 are in similar condition. And also a unique feature of this wastewater plant is the use of magnetite to meet permit requirements. And although the magnetite helps the town meet effluent permit requirements, it creates a very harsh and corrosive environment for the pumps, pipes, and downstream equipment, which just further highlights the importance of proactive maintenance at this plant. Next slide. So our recommendation is to rehabilitate PTU 3. This is part of an ongoing planning project in town. PTU 1 was recently rehabilitated, and rehab for PTU 2 is scheduled for later this year. The main purpose of this project will be to repair and recoat steel to extend its useful life, and our cost estimate for this project is $1 million for design and construction. Next slide. The final project I'll touch on is for the Preserve Sewer Pump Station. The generator was installed in 2003 and has reached the end of its useful life. We recommend replacing the existing generator and automatic transfer switch. Our conceptual level cost estimate for this is $80,000 for design and construction. The town staff are planning to coordinate this work in-house, which will save on engineering fees. So I'll pass it off to Abby now.
We just threw a lot of information at
But
you.
it's a survey approach.
Yeah.
Because if we go through every single project and open it up, we'll get nothing done. So please just do a broad survey of what the aggregate costs are, and then we'll probably redirect to what our annualized costs are. Because we have the spreadsheet modeling here, which is the bigger piece of it. And if we don't do it that way, we'll never, ever get through it. So let's just start broad, and then we'll narrow. Jim, does that work for you? I don't know who you are. No. Yeah, it makes sense, right? Okay. So, all right, go ahead.
Okay, thanks, April. So yeah, in similar manner as sewer, I'll go through an overview of the water system, our assessment results, a couple recommended water projects, and then the funding analysis we did as part of this AMP. Shown here is a map of the town's water system. Sturbridge has 3 water storage tanks, 2 booster pump stations, 4 groundwater supply wells, and 2 treatment plants. The iron removal plant, which is referred to as the IRP, and treats wells 1, 3, and 5, and then the well 4 water treatment plant, which treats well 4. Our asset management plan mainly focused on evaluating the conditions of the assets at the facilities circled in orange. We also did do a high-level review of the town's water supply capacities and existing water quality that I'll go into just a little more in depth in the next few slides. Next slide, please. These two graphs summarize Sturbridge's water sources and demands. Starting with the bar graph on the left, the blue bar represents the permitted maximum daily withdrawal capacity for each well, whereas the orange bar represents the daily well production based on 2024 system demands, both in million gallons per day. As you can see, just from the comparison between the orange and the blue bars, the town has sufficient permitted capacity to meet demands and no major concerns of exceeding that permitted capacity. The town's well capacity limits are established in and governed by conditions outlined in the town's Water Management Act permit. Well number 4 has special operating conditions in the summer months that are dictated by stream flow values on the 7 Mile River near Spencer, Mass, and the drought status of the central region. Moving to the pie chart on the right, this displays the percentages of what each well produced to meet system demands in the year of 2024. As I mentioned before, raw water from wells 1, 3, and 5 are combined and treated at the IRP, and well 4 has its own treatment plant. So if you look at wells 1, 3, and 5 as one source, the IRP is producing majority of the town's water supply. So the IRP is an important facility for the town. Next slide, please. So as part of this AMP, we also did do a high-level review of existing water quality. All wells are treated for iron and manganese removal. Wells 1, 3, and 5 are also treated for surface water. Recently, well 1 has seen an increase in sodium levels, particularly in the wintertime due to its proximity to Route 20, where salt is heavily used for snow and ice melting. Starting in 2023, PFAS has been detected in wells, and the town has been monitoring those PFAS levels since then. So since PFAS is an emerging contaminant and has been detected in the water supply, I just wanted to briefly highlight the current Massachusetts and EPA limits for PFAS. The table shown on this slide shows the PFAS compounds regulated by the state and EPA and their enforceable maximum contaminant levels, MCLs. PFAS 6 is also regulated, which is the sum of concentrations of the 6 different PFAS compounds that I'm not going to attempt to name. But the public water systems, they need to comply with these MCLs if they are exceeded at a sampling point before the finished water enters the distribution system. So PFAS 6, PFOA, and PFOS have all been detected in Sturbridge's water supply, which is shown on the graphs on the following 3 slides in your handout. Next slide. So on each of these 3 graphs, PFAS levels from 2023 to 2025 for the wells IRP finished water and the well number 4 finished water are shown with their respective symbol. The blue horizontal lines represent the current MCLs. So as I mentioned before, compliance with MCL is enforced at the sampling points before it enters the distribution system. So the IRP finished water, which is shown as the light blue asterisk symbol, and the well number 4 finished water, the green diamond symbol, are the levels that need to be monitored for compliance.
So let's pause there a minute, because that's way denser than a lot of the other stuff you've talked about. So the green dot, let's go just to well number 1 and just walk through just well number 1 on the X and Y axis, please.
So on the X and Y axis, just well number 1.
Yep.
Which is shown as the blue triangle.
Sampling taken on March 15th of 23, right? Relative to the nanograms per liter?
Yes, correct, on the,
Okay.
yeah.
And so that's the concentration. So there was a sample taken, and there's a green dot on it. What does the green dot mean? The 315 right on the 0.
Yeah,
There's a 0.
so yeah, that's reflecting the IRP, the well number 4 finished water, so that means it was 0, it was not detected.
Okay, and so then there's an errant green to the dot to the left. So what is that putting it at, like 6 or 7?
Yes.
Okay. And that is within the MCL or not?
That is not exceeding the MCL, because it's all below the MCL.
It's all below the MCL because the MCL is the 20 points, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And so what are the black triangles?
So the black triangles are representing well number 1, the raw water PFAS level.
Excuse me.
What, I don't see black where are the black triangles?
Or the
There
dark.
to the-
On the
dark-
projector, yeah.
On the right.
Oh, they're blue, okay, I'm sorry. They look blue to me.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I'm
they're dark
going
blue
off the
and-
screen, so I might be getting so, and I know I'm jumping around a little here, but I'm just trying to get the more because, so basically, we're under the 20 parts per, what is that, PPT?
20 parts per trillion.
Parts per trillion, and so that's within the state acceptable, and so the black triangles are pre-treatment?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So wells number 1, number 3, which is the orange square, and well number 5, the
Gotcha.
circle, those are all raw water, PFAS levels in the raw water.
Okay,
Quality.
thank you. Any questions on that, guys?
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, Mary.
Those are pre-treatment, the triangle. So what is it
Yes.
post-treatment? How low does it get? Do you eliminate it?
So the IRP finished the IRP finish produces, treats wells 1, 3, and 5. So that, the IRP finished is what goes into the distribution system, and so those are below the 20 parts per trillion.
That's the green diamond.
Okay, so the green diamond is post-treatment and the black triangle is pre-treatment.
Correct.
Do we ever try to treat to get it even lower than that? I don't into.
Yeah, truth be told, the plant is actually not designed to treat for PFAS. You're just, by virtue of it sorbing the things as it goes through the process, it appears to be dropping out. But, I mean, we're talking about very, very low levels of a contaminant.
No, I get it. It's the question, I just wanted to understand, because it's not the most intuitive graph, which is probably my own limitation. Anybody from FinCom have a question on this graph? No? Okay. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, so you can go to the next slide. These next 2 slides just show the levels for those 3 different PFAS compounds. Yeah, just to reiterate, these levels are below the max contaminant levels right now. Although these PFAS levels are still below the MCLs, PFAS, it's not going away, and the water operations staff are required to monitor the PFAS levels quarterly in preparation for any potential future treatment.
But hold on, like these other 2 charts, we're really close to the maximum.
Yes, closer, yeah, for PFOA.
I mean,
and
like this chart, we're just about touching it. So like,
And that is for, I think you're looking at, if you're looking at the blue, dark blue triangles.
On this one and then on this next
On the
one,
next one,
both
correct.
of
And that's
them.
for the pre-treated. So enforceable, the state, these enforceable MCLs are for when, at the finished water before it enters into the distribution system. So the main data points to look at, or that matter for enforceable MCLs, is the IRP finished water and the well number 4 finished water.
right, but before treatment, we're just about at the maximum, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, especially on the next one, you can't get any closer.
Correct, at that
Okay.
one well.
I just want to make sure I'm reading that correctly.
Next slide, please. Next slide. So just moving on to the assessment results, this pie chart displays the strategy categories and the percentages for each of the assets. Majority of the assets are in the priority and routine preventative maintenance category. Many of these assets were in fair condition due to regular maintenance and proactive maintenance by water operations staff. About 30% of the assets were categorized as critical, priority, and opportunistic replace and repair, meaning many of these assets are at the end of their useful life. So we developed our recommended projects around these higher priority categories for a capital improvements plan. Next slide, please. So many of these assets that fell into the critical, priority, and opportunistic repair and replace categories were in the IRP. The IRP was constructed in the early 1980s with much of the equipment having never been replaced. So a few of the photos on these upcoming slides highlight the current conditions at the IRP. These photos on this slide show the interior condition of the green sand filters from the most recent inspection. These filters have many corrosion pits, blistering, and rust discoloration. The interior condition of the filters was worse than anticipated, and the current ongoing filter repairs are really only expected to extend the useful life of the filters for a few more years and not be a long-term solution. Next slide. So much of the filter piping and valves are corroded, affecting its operating use for the plant. The IRP roof leaks in a couple areas, one of which is right above the existing lime chemical feed system shown in the right-hand photo. Next slide, please. The filter room in the IRP houses all three filters and the piping, chemical feed systems, and even electrical equipment. This slide and the following slide display a few photos of the tight quarters within this facility. As you can see in some of these photos, the room has extreme space constraints for routine maintenance and general operator working space, and even space for potential retrofits. These chemical feed systems, they're in very close proximity to one another, and can contribute to worsening the condition of nearby equipment. So it's best practice to store chemical and operate feed systems in a separate room within the treatment facility. The fluoride room, which is shown in the right-hand photo, is in its own room at the treatment plant. Much of the process and HVAC and electrical equipment are heavily corroded due to poor ventilation and corrosive chemical. Next slide, please. The water office building is directly across from the IRP. The water office is where the water staff sit daily for operations of the plant and is a space for miscellaneous storage. This office building was also constructed in the early 1980s and approaching the end of its useful life. Conditions assessment for this building revealed a couple structural deficiencies such as the roof sagging and falling interior ceiling tiles. This building also does not have working heat, making it an unideal working environment for staff.
It's very diplomatic.
The results of this condition assessment are really pointing toward major upgrades or a full replacement of the IRP. With the IRP in this current state and in parallel with potentially changing contaminants or future regulations, our recommendation is to really take a step back and begin to invest in planning for a full replacement or major retrofit. So in doing so, the first step in one of our project recommendations is to conduct a water quality analysis. The purpose of this study would be to analyze the raw water quality and water quality objectives, evaluate different treatment alternatives, and evaluate the true feasibility of potential retrofits, and to start planning for future treatment needs, such as PFAS. We estimate a study of this magnitude to be around $60,000 for planning purposes. Depending on the outcomes of a water quality analysis, a pilot study could potentially be required by DEP. We conservatively estimate a pilot study to be around $200,000 to $300,000 for planning purposes. And just to put a new water treatment plant of this magnitude in perspective, Ty & Bond has done similar iron and manganese and PFAS treatment plants between $20 to $30 million, which includes engineering design, construction, and construction services. Next slide, please. Another recommended project was associated with the well number 4 water treatment plant in the fluoride room. So similar to the IRP, much of the equipment in this space is heavily corroded. Also, the chemical room is missing a hand and eye wash station, which is required by Mass DEP. Next slide. Our recommended project is a rehabilitation of the fluoride room, which would include replacing the heavily corroded equipment, such as the piping and supports, the electrical and HVAC equipment. Exploring different HVAC upgrades to improve ventilation in this space would also be a part of the project. For planning level purposes, we estimate the project to be around $170,000 for design and construction. For installation of an eye wash station, we estimate for planning level purposes around $260,000 for design and construction. The final project I'll just discuss is the replacement of the Stallion Hill water storage tank. The last inspection report indicated cracks with accumulated efflorescence and spalling and voids of the concrete tank. DPW has begun planning for the design replacement and working with Old Sturbridge Village to obtain an easement adjacent to the tank. And this would simplify construction, sequencing, and downtime to bring the replacement tank online. For planning level purposes, we estimate construction design for a tank of this size to be around $3.3 million. Next slide, please. So all the recommended sewer and water projects and their conceptual level costs for this asset management plan are listed in the CIP tables on these next two slides and in your handouts. These CIP tables also include a few ongoing town projects that were outside of the scope of this asset management plan. Each project was split between a design and construction project and were prioritized and color-coded by start year. Next slide, please. So after analyzing the CIP tables for the sewer and water, we then performed a funding analysis. Next slide, please. The purpose of this funding analysis was to indicate the town's revenue needs from fiscal years 2026 to 2030 in order to finance the town's existing capital projects, their existing debts, the town's projected operation and maintenance expenditures, and the proposed capital projects that were identified in this AMP. The town had a previous rate model for water and sewer that was done in 2021, which we used as a basis for our analysis. So this table shows a summary of the total annualized cost for the sewer and water projects. Each project was assumed to be either funded through retained earnings or debt funded. Conceptual project costs that were less than $500,000 were assumed to be rate funded projects. Conceptual costs that were greater than $500,000 were assumed to be debt funded projects with a 20-year loan term and 7% interest rate. Grant funding was not considered for financing the capital projects as part of this analysis.
Is there any grant funding anticipated and available from the state at any point?
Likely for a number of these projects, but to be conservative, the numbers we're showing
Oh,
don't.
no, I get that.
Yeah,
But
getting
I
there.
understand that you're not including it in, for
Yeah.
purposes of projection, but is it? Okay.
So we used the town's annual expenses that were in that 2021 rate model and projected them until 2030. The annual operating expenses included the personnel services, supplies, and maintenance. Projected capital expenses include the town's current debt service for the ongoing projects and the proposed capital projects. So in this funding analysis, we did not implement any new historical revenue or expense data. Next slide, please. So finally, this last table presents the additional revenue and the percent revenue increase the town will need to generate each fiscal year to finance the ongoing capital projects, the town's debts, expenses, and the proposed capital projects. For this funding exercise, we raised your revenue to maintain an acceptable level of retained earnings while maintaining enough savings to afford the proposed capital projects. Revenue needs will need to be revisited as projects become more defined and further along. Also, if the town were to ever secure grant funding, we anticipate these revenue needs to be less. Additionally, these percent revenue needs are not indicative of rate increases, and a formal rate evaluation would need to be conducted to provide necessary rate adjustments. Next slide, please. So just to conclude this presentation and looking beyond this AMP, some next steps would be to conduct a formal rate evaluation, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, begin to implement these project recommendations, reevaluate the CIP after 5 years or sooner, update the inventories as new equipment is installed, and then this asset management plan is really meant to be a living document and a tool for the town to cost effectively prioritize future needs for the water and sewer systems. So with that, thank you for your time this evening, and we can go into any more questions.
Yeah, so those rate increases were pretty stiff, just as a compounded rate over a 4-year period. You're talking about 8%, then 10%, then 10%. You're talking about almost cataclysmic, I can't, really large, really large rate increases. That's just initial response. But within the larger financial models that you provided, that are on these larger sheets, you know, they're saying the estimated cost, which is 23 million total for sewer, and I'm looking at I don't know, yeah, right after interest rate and before cost here. For the period of time, I'm assuming the 2021 is a pre-existing project that was just included. If you look at the top row, it's the 2021.
Correct, or ongoing
Correct.
expenses
Yeah,
that
okay.
are applied
So,
every
but
year.
everything else would be, so everything else is a future year except for those, I think. But again, I don't want to get into the micro of this. But of that 23 million, and then there's an escalated cost, what does that escalated cost consist of? Interest and inflation, I assume?
Correct, inflation over time,
Yeah. Okay.
as to when each of these projects would actually hit.
Just interest then, not, or did you say inflation?
Inflation.
Yeah, sorry. So that wouldn't, so these numbers include interest or don't?
The debt-funded ones would, but not the capital-funded ones.
So it's, for example, the debt-funded one going to
In the dark
what is
blue.
looking at line 6, which is primary treatment, unit number 1 rehabilitation, which is debt, and then there's the interest rate of 7%, and then it says $450,000. That $450,000 does not include the interest rate? It's the 470 that does?
I think even the 470 wouldn't, but the
Yeah, 'cause that would
individual
make
line
sense, yeah.
items added up, right. I
Okay.
don't think we have the cost summarized with the interest in it.
Okay, so these are debt-free numbers, because they haven't been projected out over the 20-year period. Going to the, okay, and then, so the funding source, rate, do we have the breakdown on of the 23,000 that we have as the total estimated cost? What extent of that is paid by the rate?
23 million.
23 million, excuse me.
That'd be great.
The 23 million?
I don't think that's summarized on the table.
Okay, and does the rate payment assume the increases put up there, or is that rate increase?
The rate increase that's where the interest rate would get baked into, the user rate increase.
User rate. So when we have the 8, whatever numbers there are, the 8, 10, 10, 10, which is per annum rate increase, because when we say revenue increase, we're saying rate increase, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so without some major spike in usage, that's what we're looking at. So you're saying that the rate paid project on this has estimated costs includes those increases, or does not?
So the revenue, what's indicated as revenue increase there, which you accurately also described as a rate increase, a billing rate increase, includes the interest rate that's shown on the summary tables here for the projects that are debt funded.
No, I understand that, and my question is different.
Okay.
What I'm asking you is that you have two, so let's, just so everybody, and I probably did a poor job asking, is the funding source is two different types, rate and debt, right?
Yes.
Debt has the interest rate because it's presumably a bond-funded project. Then there's the rate. The rate is being paid by the revenue from water and sewer rates in town, right?
Correct.
And so does the rate and the estimated cost and how this would, and the assumption that this be funded by rate, say for projects 1 through 5, does that assume that increase?
Let me try to, I think I understand what you're getting at, but the rate increase considers when rate-funded projects are implemented.
Yeah.
And it carries that cost, but it would also carry new debt service if you took on new debt to implement other projects. Is that kind of what you're asking?
No, not really. So what's happening is what I'm struggling with, and it probably isn't the conversation or something that's going to be figured out this evening.
Sure.
But when you look at this as a survey event over the next few years, and then you associate it with for the water, I don't know, let's say 20-odd projects, and for the sewer, 20-odd projects, and then for the debt, let's say it's, 15. It's hard to figure out what, and the capital needs underneath it, like how they associate to these particular projects to make a value analysis on it. And it also is difficult to determine, when you just say funding source rate, when it's happening, is that how does it relate to our static rate increase? It's just, you kind of need to break it out that. And I understand that this is a capital plan and not and is inherently a survey, but it's just difficult for me to conceptualize that, because you're talking about a massively compounding increase in our rate.
You're kind of looking, if I can try to parrot that back to you, you're kind of looking for a little more granularity than this table on the slide provides, so that you could kind of prioritize independently the projects that are listed on the
because this is
29
kind of getting, that would be my question.
But then I don't know, like, I understand that it's a big project, and we've done the assessment of what needs to occur. But then beyond that, even when you have the color-coded, let it fail or whatever, and then you don't relate it back to what the larger modeling is, all of this doesn't do that much for me on some level, because I can see where the assessment is, but then I cannot see where to allocate resources. Does that make sense?
So, and can I dovetail
Yeah, go ahead,
his
Mary.
question? Because I kind of think I have a similar question. This is the funding source. Is that the funding source to fund all of these projects?
Only the ones with rate.
What?
Only the ones listed for funding source rate. The other ones with the debt next to them with the percentage.
Right, I get that, but for all of them,
So
that's
each of
how
these-
it's, because my question is, did you prioritize on this? Because some of your start years, for example, the new storage space for Garage Well 4, you don't have a start date till 2035. Is that because that's a low priority?
Exactly.
So you tried to prioritize for us?
Exactly.
Okay.
So each of these projects have a start year based on their criticality.
Okay.
And then you
so-
can see in the
So I get
columns-
that.
Yeah.
So the first thing that we're looking at is like St. Anne's, we renamed that, I think, but the tank construction, okay? 2026 start date, that is like now, okay? So this, is that for the early projects, or does that show what kind of revenue we're going to need for all of these projects, debt excluded?
Right, so right now, it's only through that 5-year plan.
So this is only for the projects that fall from 2026 to 2031?
Correct. Which is why the rate study will be important to think about if
So-
there are bigger projects coming outside of that 2030 range, do you start to plan for those now in your rates so you're not seeing a big jump?
So you're
at that
actually
point?
able to do that for 5 years out? That's accurate for 5 years out, for projects
The
5 years
farther
from
you
now?
go out, the
Oh.
less accurate it gets, but yeah.
Oh,
But to your point, that's why we didn't do it for 10 or 20, because as we try to project further into the future, the accuracy can tail off.
because I've got to be honest, I'm kind of shocked that that it's this dire. I mean, I feel like we were kind of told just how bad some of these, how much we are in need with some of these projects. Because one of my problems, I'm still back on that water quality chart. Well number 1 for PFOA and PFOS is very close to the maximum allowed by the Mass DEP, according to your chart. Does that chart show us how low the levels are after post-treatment? I still don't quite understand that. Where is the post-treatment exposure?
Sure.
They're the asterisk ones.
So 1,
Yeah,
3, and 5 are 3 individual wells that all go to one treatment plant. So
Right.
you're getting some blending at the treatment plant. So the IRP finish is the post for wells 1, 3,
Okay, so
and 5.
the little
asterisk.
blue star.
Yep.
Right.
And how do you determine how low those stars went? Because like one of them, it's still at like 2.5, could we have gotten it to lower than that, to 0.5? Like, what determined how much we treated for those particular
So
contaminants?
these are new emerging
yeah, we didn't treat
contaminants
for
that we're not yet treating for.
So that it's just by happenstance of the previous system.
Oh, we're not
that-
yet treating for
No,
them.
because these are all those things that the state recently required.
So we only started sampling in 2023. It's
I had no
new.
idea that, so for well number 1, I'm not sure we were told just, because we're close to the maximum right now.
Well, no, we're, when it, with the,
Yeah.
we're close on, on that date, at the time, prior to treatment, we're close. But I think the problem with all of this is you have to adjust for well levels, rainstorms, what's happening with other treatment, what's going on at even the dump for treatment, like
Right, but-
there's so many different factors, so it could be, but I think and correct me if I'm wrong here, but part of a lot of the new systems will be testing this in and of itself, right? It isn't gonna have to be, because right now I don't, and Shane will do periodic testing in the system, but it doesn't happen within.
Right, but that PFOS level, that triangle for well number 1 is just about touching the maximum line.
Totally.
That's
Yeah,
right.
in my
Right,
treatment.
which I'm very surprised at, I've got to be honest. I'm not sure that I was aware that just how close that is.
I think one thing that is important to point out is we don't operate well 1 just on its own. We always are blending our water source going through that IRP. That is why you don't see the levels going out as high as they are coming in. Yes, well 1 is a very concerning well for us, and that is one of the reasons why we have upped our monitoring on it, but we blend our water sources. So if you see that, all 3 of those wells operate together, so you're getting a blended rate.
And these don't reflect a blended rate.
Correct.
But-
And that's, no, they don't,
The-
they do, because the treated is the finish, is the blended.
Okay, so it's still blended, but I understand what you're saying, but again, pre-treatment with that triangle, that is not blended. That's not blended.
Right.
Correct.
And if you
Okay.
look at the dates, these were sampled in December of 2025. So
And-
this
and-
is very new data.
And I don't know what PFOA is and PFOS is. Exposure to that is it like a carcinogen contaminant?
Highly carcinogenic.
Yeah, so,
But here's the thing, I'd caution you on reacting too much to these numbers, even the low numbers on the other wells, because they could be the faulty numbers. That might be the more accurate numbers. You just.
right,
because
but I mean,
it's a-
either way, it's very concerning.
Well, yeah, that's why they passed these laws. But the point of it is some of the systemization of this is theoretically designed to better monitor, to have some of this information. But with that, I feel like we've been chatting a lot. Chase, Mary Lou, do you guys have anything you want to pop in? No? FinCom? Anybody? Come on down, sir. You got to go to the microphone and just identify yourself.
So Ken Valentino, 108 The Open.
I don't know if it's live, Ken.
You can probably hear me. I got a question regarding capacity. Well, 1, it looks like 132, and as far as usage, the capacity. So is that because of cost of it, or just because the capacity and there's not enough people using it? And when we're looking at this, do we reconfigure it? Because the well 4 looks like it's getting closer. Well 1 looks like, why do we have that much capacity? Is that normal, or is that?
And are you on the one that says Sturbridge Water Sources? Yeah. Okay.
Correct. So it's more of a reflection of low demand than it is an issue of not reaching the capacity that it could.
So it's not because of functionality, it's because just, so really,
usage.
again, you really add this much capacity for that usage, or assuming the town's not doubling or something?
Well, keep in mind that the town's water system operator has the ability to kind of ramp up or ramp down well 1, 3, and 5, and they all go to the same blending point. Okay, so if you saw a water quality problem in well 1, like we have, where the PFAS concentration appears to be rising there slightly, and that well is under the influence of a surface water, it makes sense to perhaps draw back how much you're extracting from that well and increase flow rates from wells 3 and 5, which have less contamination.
Okay.
So the blended outcome is better water quality.
Yeah, and the
For the
extra
consumer.
capacity combines more flexibility.
Can offload to well 4 back and forth, they're not interchangeable. I mean, you don't know, but you can't say, this one's out capacity, let's take this one and move the water there or whatever.
We can't really do that with well 4, but wells 1, 3, and 5 all go to the same treatment facility. So in that instance, we can combine flows from all of them, and in fact, the town does.
Over a big project, would it make any sense to look at this and try to reconfigure to make it more in line with where the town's going? Suppose in well 4, population's growing, and suppose in well 1, staying the same. Is there a way to reconfigure in which way? What are we spending?
Yes, short of going down a rabbit hole here, there are ways that, we can pull water from different sources. One of the challenges, particularly with well 4, is that there are constraints on how much the town can withdraw from that well under drought conditions. So seasonally, it becomes difficult to use well 4 over concerns for trout fishery in the brook adjacent to the Kibinski pit.
Another question I have, as far as efficiencies in your numbers, are there any efficiencies with the money we're spending? I hate to use AI, shoot me please, AI, but the bottom line is there any efficiencies baked into this number as far as new equipment, less manpower, or people power, whatever you want to call it? You name it, energy consumption. Any benefits you get that based on also new equipment and maybe new technologies?
Yeah, so you will find some increase in efficiency on a motor that you buy today versus one that you perhaps bought 20 or 30 years ago. That's definitely true. The town over the years has tried to increase its computer control systems on things. So you're pumping a little bit less, trying to be a little more responsive perhaps to conditions in the field. So there's some small opportunities for that, but I don't want to sit here and tell you that you're going to gain 25%. It's around the edges.
And the interest rate is 7%. That's right now we're going to get a new Fed. It seems like things are going to be going down. So is this, would you consider 7% worst case?
It's worst case for this funding analysis. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, ask your bond counsel.
And it's funny, when people put the numbers together, were they chemical engineers, mechanical engineers, who actually came up with the study with all this information?
I think we're all civil or environmental engineers.
You guys did it yourself?
Yeah, and we had Hassan help with the rate work.
Yeah.
And we have another gentleman in our office who has more of a business background. He's done a lot of work for private water utilities over the years and investor-owned utilities, and he helps us with the rate modeling work and the financial models.
Was the current people that are operating the system, are they involved with this at all or not?
Yeah.
Shane
Shane from
Shane
Veolia.
Good, I just want to ask. That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
Anybody else from FinCom?
Jamie, if I could just make one comment?
Hold on a second, Robin.
Okay.
It's not hit the button.
Sorry, guys, I'm gonna take 5 minutes to figure out what
Just use their, pick up the remote.
Oh, yeah.
This is sort of a general question about the overall system. So I'm referencing the pie charts you guys have in here for both sewer and water, and it looks like roughly 9% are either critical replace or priority replace, and like 30 to 40 are priority maintenance. I'm curious how that relates to maybe other systems you've evaluated, to try to get a sense for general health. Obviously, we think that there's a lot of improvements that need to be made, but I'm just curious how this system, these water sewer systems relate to other systems you guys have evaluated.
I think Sturbridge, let me back up. I started working in Sturbridge about 20 years ago with Gene when we were doing a wastewater master plan for the town. And, Sturbridge, over that time, has been relatively proactive in trying to maintain assets. The guys from Veolia are always coming up with ways to try and run things better or maintain things well. So I think you're in a decent shape from the perspective that you've tried to do the maintenance that you can on the equipment that you have, but ultimately things just get old. So you're ahead of some other communities that have done absolutely nothing for certain. But things still get old and require replacement over time.
So generally speaking, we're in the median average.
Yeah, you're about average, I would say.
All right. One more question, if you don't mind. I think we're talking about the water, one of the water treatment facilities. You mentioned it was very cramped on machines together. Is there like an impending safety issue we need to deal with here, or did that warrant that?
I'll answer the question, yes. It is a major problem. I'm not going to make the vendor do it, but
I'm curious what the experts might have to say.
No, because it goes to liability. But we have the water building, if you have been there, and I would urge everybody to go, everything is collapsing. It's not ventilated. They don't have heat. It is they've used, Heather, what did they get, a trailer to function part of it?
We're actually talking to OSB to move into their property.
Yeah, so it is.
Was that very high on the priority list of the projects you guys have highlighted here?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
So, okay, anybody else for income? Okay, anything else from the board on it? I don't think this requires, Robin, you were going to say something, I apologize.
I was just going to briefly just follow up quickly on what Mary was asking about the PFAS. Just so everybody is aware, there is a large-scale lawsuit going on nationally with against companies that may have contributed to the excessive PFAS in our water supplies and in our ground. So we are part of that, and we monitor that really closely so that if there is some financial, if there's some remuneration that comes as a result of this, we will be part of that. This is just as an aside, but it's something we do keep our eye on.
Well, thank you, Robin, but, I mean, again, I still didn't realize pre-treatment that we had that level in some of our wells. It just, first time I'm kind of hearing it, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think this requires any action at this juncture. Thank everybody for coming. Thank you guys so much. I think, Jim, you want to?
Presentations, questions about that, I'd like to, call a recess and short recess of the Finance Committee. While we move into another conference room to continue our meeting.
Thank you. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you for having us.
All right, our meeting continues if I can find my agenda. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good night. God bless. Very sobering.
Water and sewer, it's just how it kind of works.
I know, but it's got me thinking twice drinking the water.
Okay, we're moving on.
No, I'm on time.
Everyone, please. There's still a meeting continuing, still a meeting going on. Thank you very much. Okay, I think we are on to consideration and possible action on accepting the resignation of Hillary Murray from part-time police officer effective February 4th, 2026. I make a motion to accept the resignation with thanks for their service.
Second.
All those in favor? Consideration and possible action on the issuance of a common vic license to Frisbee's Dairy Barn at 195 Charlton Road. Any questions, thoughts, concerns?
We always support ice cream.
All right, we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to issue the common vic license to Frisbee's Dairy Barn at 195 Charlton Road.
All right, do we have a second? Second. All those in favor?
When do they hope to open?
Thank you.
Oh.
When do you hope to open?
We're hoping to be open in March.
Oh, great.
Working on it.
Well, welcome to town. All right, thanks. All right. Moving on, consideration on possible action on authorizing the town administrator to enter into an agreement with NV5 Design Services Construction Oversight for the Joshua Public High Library Elevator Modernization Project. This, I assume, was the successful bidder, Robin?
Yes, it was. We had, I believe, 4 or 5 bids. It was an RFQ, so we had to pick based on qualifications, and then we negotiated price. I worked with the library building committee. We unanimously agreed on this company. I went back, spoke price. They came back with one price. I brought that back to the building committee. We asked for some concessions. We were able to get it down to what you have in front of you, which I believe is about 65,000 and change. So I'm just requesting the support from the board to sign this, start the process so we can get that library modernization done in short order.
What was the number again, Robin? I thought it was like 80 or 90,000.
It was down, no, it was down from the 75.9. I'm not sure if you got the latest version. Francis, did I forward you the last-
69,450.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Any
you,
questions,
Lisa.
thoughts, concerns from the board? All right, hearing none, do we have a motion?
Well, Jamie, I don't have the updated agenda in front of me.
Oh, it's,
I don't
I'll make
either.
a motion
That's
to
fine.
authorize the town administrator to enter into an agreement with the NV5 Design Services and construction oversight for the Joshua Hyde Public Library Elevator Modernization Project. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? And as noted, that the number was $69,450. Moving on to action item F, which is consideration and possible action on the reappointment of Anthony Crane to be the moth inspector for a term to expire February 19th, 2028. Any questions, thoughts?
He's a great moth inspector.
Okay. Can we, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to reappoint Anthony Crane to be the moth inspector for a term to expire February 19th, 2028.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Consideration possible action on the appointment of Stephanie LaChapelle to the Sturbridge Tourist Association effective February 17th, 2026, to February 17th, 2029. All right.
Was Stephanie able to make it?
No, I do not believe Stephanie is here, is she?
Okay. I did speak with her, and Terry spoke with her, and we all feel she's a very good candidate. She has a real estate background, local real estate business, and she's very committed to the town.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to confirm the appointment of Stephanie LaChapelle to the Sturbridge Tourist Association effective February 17th, 2026 to February 17th, 2029.
Second.
Great, all those in favor? Thank you. Consideration and possible action on appointing Annie Thompson Quintera and Laura O'Donnell to the Special Events Committee effective February 17th, 2026 to February 17th, 2029.
I defer to Mary Dowling. Mary, if you want, I know you met with both these people.
We did, the Special Events Committee met with them. They're both very excited. They've got some good ideas they'd like to bring forward, and we have 2 openings. We actually have 3 openings, but this will fill 2 of them.
Okay, great. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Annie Thompson Cantera and Lauren O'Donnell to the Special Events Committee effective February 17th, 2026 to February 17th, 2029.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Consideration and possible action on reappointing Janet Guerin to the Board of Registrars for a term to expire March 31st, 2029. Any questions, thoughts? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to reappoint Janet Guerin to the Board of Registers for a term to expire March 31st, 2029.
Second.
All those in favor? Great. J, consideration and possible action on accepting the resignation of Kenneth White from the Council on Aging. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Kenneth White from the Council on Aging.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
And I just want to thank him. He's given a lot of time to time to the town.
Yes. You predicted my comment, Mary. Moving on to action item K, consideration and possible action on accepting the resignation of Peter Champagne from the Sturbridge Tourist Association. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Peter Champagne from the Sturbridge Tourist Association.
Second.
All those in favor? Great. I'm going to take the item from Citizens Forum on the St. Anne's Shrine and Town Water System and invite Peter to come speak. You can sit down if you'd like, Peter, too. You don't have to stand.
Father, Luke and the other priest here too.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys,
I didn't know if you wanted.
you want to come down too?
I thought Peter was the only one who wanted to.
Oh, he is the only one? Father Luke? No? Okay.
I'll introduce them.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm Peter Mimo. I'm a Sturbridge resident, 76 South Shore Drive, also a volunteer and a member of St. Anne St. Patrick Parish. Background in facilities and Buildings and Grounds Committee for the church. Father Luke Martell is here. He was the prior pastor, he's now the business manager. Father Sal Masandi is here, he's now the current pastor. And Attorney Jeffrey Chase is here, who was helping us with some of the review of the documents involved with this. Yeah, so as the agenda says, I'm here, my presence here is to talk about talking to the proper authorities here on a specific Sturbridge water system infrastructure on church property owned by the Bishop of Worcester, managed by the pastor as the administrator of St. Anne St. Patrick Parish. Hopefully, over the next several minutes, I can explain our request to work directly with the select board members in their role as water commissioners to clarify the town's policy on managing approximately 100 feet of buried water line that is directly below an important outdoor shrine walkway. It is our hope that after hearing our comments tonight, that we can schedule a meeting with the commissioners to discuss the need to synchronize land use policies that will be the basis for involvement of various other entities using the same 100-foot-long section of parish land. We wish to not name other parties directly, but will only refer to generic functionality tonight, and ask that you follow our lead on this matter so as not to complicate the message any more than you will hear from me. This matter is a time-critical and appropriate, and we would appreciate 1 or 2 policy meetings over the coming weeks, perhaps an executive session following the next BOS meeting, or small groups such as 1 and 2 commissioners at a time. We are ready to start this effort as soon as possible and will share our research with the commissioners prior to the first scheduled meetings. Our staff is anxious to work with the town to agree on how best to maintain the water system infrastructure and the outdoor shrine in this 100-foot-long pathway. Please allow me to take a few minutes to tell you what the situation is that calls for such a policy meeting. Without the use of handouts or slides, I have a simple parody that you will play roles in by using the tables you are sitting at to explain how important 100 feet of land is to both the town and the church. To speed things up, I'm going to ask permission to abbreviate your titles for the next few minutes, because you're part of the parody.
Okay.
A large water line from Main Street flows below Church Street, up the hill onto our shrine land to a water reservoir. It's interesting, we just talked a lot about water systems in town, and some of them were the tanks on the map. So one of them is the tank we'll be talking about tonight. So it flows up the shrine land to the water reservoir, which is a tall metal tank, circa 1933. On town property on a hill surrounded by church land, and its purpose is to provide water pressure to the Fitzdale residents that are on the watered meter supply. So I'm going to go ahead and present this short parody because you'll be able to visualize what we're asking your help on. So the first thing is, in your positions at this table, these tables right here you're sitting on, we have 100 foot wide by 20 foot wide, 100 feet long by 20 foot wide road that is only in front of Commissioner Kate Binsky. So you've got a 100-foot road in front of you on that straight line of desk. The water line turns an angle at a corner outside of the 100 by 20 in front of Commissioner Dowling. So at that angle right there, we're leaving the 100 by 100 and we're moving on an angle in this direction. That's the water pipe. The town land with the water tank is represented in front of, in this case, Commissioner Goodwin. You represent the land that is owned by the town that has the water tank on it. You represent the land that is owned by the church that has a road on it. You represent, on one side of you represent where the land that owned by the church has the water pipe heading this way, but right in the middle of your desk, it turns into town land. So that water pipe is running all the way from Church Street. I didn't bring Commissioner Volpe in. Church Street's over there. So you have multiple hundreds, 200-300 feet of water line coming up. We're not discussing that. We're only discussing that water line in front of you, that 100-foot run of buried, very important water line going up into the tank. Then, beyond Commissioner Dowling, behind Commissioner Dowling and you, is, Chase, is a platform that was established 10 years prior to the water line being put in. The water infrastructure construction was done, which was 10 years after the platform was put in. The platform is a shrine, part of our outdoor shrine. It's a very important part of our outdoor shrine. Goes back 100 years, 1923. The platform was put there 1923, water line was put there circa 1933. One of the largest structures on the outdoor shrine has a long run of stairs up to a platform and across near the water tank site. Since its construction circa 1923, this statue has been visited yearly by many hundreds of local and out-of-state visitors during the non-winter season. The pathway down the hill after climbing 50 stairs overlaps the 100-foot section of the road that we are requesting the parish and the commissioners to have a policy review meeting as soon as possible. So you see that pathway down the hill does not apply to anything over here. It applies to your 100-foot. The policy statements that we seek to compare with the commissioners must start addressing only the 100 feet because it's a very critical aspect that drives the writing of operation and maintenance procedures needed to meet the water commissioner's duties and the bishop's expectations as a landowner of the 150-foot pathway. As one of the researchers and advisors helping the parish, it appears that the solution to the type of renovation the roadway requires should be a joint decision between the pastor and the commissioners that is based on a set of 90-year-old responsibilities that are still relevant. It is our concern that 3 other utility entities depart and all the services become dormant or removed that are within the 100-feet area. Picture the laminates on your tabletop to be pavement. Picture them changing to be cardboard in that 100 feet, or gravel. That would be unacceptable. In our opinion, for the use of the 100-foot area, we are talking about a slope. Everything here is flat. This is a hill. We anticipate that having commissioner's policy will help the parish secure an acceptable future surface condition for this 100 feet. Having at least 2 meetings between the bishop's team and the water commissioners over the next month should allow the combined policy statements to drive the needed improvement for the 100-foot pathway. We seek your support on this matter.
So just as an initial point, 2 of us are not going to be able to set policy. Policy is going to have to be set at the open board. We can make progress towards policy and the like, but the quorum is such that you can talk to 2 of us because of the open meeting law, but we're not going to be able to establish. We could come up with a recommended policy. Usually the TA would be the person to do that. I guess the question.
Did I respond to that?
Oh, sure.
So I had the opportunity in January 28th, after researching just this last month, I found the actual state law that allowed the 1933 taking by the water commissioners to take land, which is what you are, Jamie, and rights of way, which is what you are. Statute had to have the vote of the water commissioners. At that time, it was a 3-member water commissioners.
Sure.
Now, the 5-member Board of Selectmen, in my understanding, are the water commissioners. So I'm not sure I understand that you all 5 or 4 are not the water commissioners.
No, we all are the water commissioner.
Collectively, though.
Collectively. We set the policy and we set the thing, so it is fine to, we are not, there is two, my point more is that meeting with 2 of us will set no policies.
We'll set no policy.
Oh, but we can make a
recommendation is all, that's all I'm clarifying.
That's all he's saying. So if like 2 of us met with you, let's say we had our full board of 5.
Yes.
And we were on board with, reach some kind of,
Yes.
understanding or hope to, we'd bring it back to the board, and it could get voted up or down.
that's
It could be 3-2 vote,
understand.
even if you have our support. You understand what,
I
that's
understand.
Jamie's point.
Yeah, no, it's just, so I just want
Sounds
to.
easier.
Yeah.
That sounds easier to do.
Well, and so I guess that to that point, I'm happy to have meetings, I guess, but I guess we're gonna end up kind of at the same place on some level, Peter. So I guess it's what do you want the town to do?
Well, first of all, these 3 utility companies, we have electricity underground on your 100 feet. We have communications cable underground on your 100 feet, and we have your water line, obviously. But we also have a cellular activity on your 100 feet. And the cellular is leaving, and we have some mitigation and repair to do in the next 2 months.
Okay.
And so far, I will say only that it doesn't match our policy and expectations for maintenance of our property.
So,
But you, as a water commissioner, maybe the 2 people that will meet will understand better what your responsibilities over that 100 feet are, because the original statute or the state law was specifically for Sturbridge to take land for water infrastructure. And once you do take land for that infrastructure, you need to, and construct on it, which you did, you need to maintain it.
So you're requesting us to fix the road?
No, I'm requesting you to work on your policy on that 100 feet. What would be your policy based on the fact that you have constructed on it 90, how many years ago? 90 years ago. You constructed on it, and now it needs some repair. How much does your policy say that you're willing to do to repair that road? Because there's liability involved with that poor condition, and that is also held by the water commissioners because it's not at the quality that we can allow those folks to be walking down the street on the hill on it, because it's not in the condition. We'd either have to shut down that road, but first we want to talk to you about your policy. And then out of your policy, we expect, Mr. Chair, to have operations and maintenance procedures that are based on that policy. Like we have operation and maintenance procedures for the rest of the outdoor shrine. But now we're coming to a point where we have dual responsibility over some land.
So what our chair is saying is not wrong, right? I mean, ultimately,
Well,
you want...
It's a good thing. I'm glad we have it, but we have...
No, when he said you want us to repair the road, you want us to come up with a maintenance plan for that portion of the road, correct?
Yes. I'd
Yeah.
like to lead with your policy, and then your DPW or whatever would come up with a maintenance plan. But I think you need to understand that as the tenant leaves, you had certain responsibilities in there that you may not be aware of. That will come out when we talk about your policy.
I think it's more complicated, Peter, than I kind of envision it. It's either the town has a specific obligation to repair, maintain, and fix the road, and that is just a legal obligation, and then there's a broader policy point about we've gotten some amount of use, what are we comfortable doing to repair, maintain the road, etc. And those are, I mean, this is one thing, right? Because that's not really an optional thing to talk about. That's just whatever our obligations are, and I don't know what those are off the top of my head. I would assume it matters whether it's an easement versus a true taking. And when you have an easement is an easement. You know, you have someone has a gas line on your property, if you have a driveway over it, you don't have to, the person with the gas line doesn't have to repair a driveway. Whereas if somebody that has a use that is actually impacting the point, that would be where an actual obligation would arise unless something else is in the contract. But beyond that, Heather, how long is this piece of road? Okay. So I don't know, what is the board's?
I mean, I don't think it's all that complicated. I think that's where our water tower is, and I think we have an obligation to make sure that road is passable at any given time and in a good state of repair. And if we're on the same page as the church, then any tenant that has to go and make repairs pursuant to another agreement, then if we're on the same page, then that will make, to facilitate that process a lot easier, I think is one of the points he's making. Because, I mean, for a while, it was just not even passable. I mean, we did put a Band-Aid on it, but that's all we really did.
That's right.
And even in terms of plowing, I mean, I like to run up there, I like to go up the hills, and for a while, it wasn't even being plowed, there was no salt on it or anything. It was just massive snow. So if anybody needed to get up to that water tower, it was not even plowed. So, I mean, that's just an aside, but, I mean, no, I think maybe we just need to have you as an agenda item where we can discuss it. If I'm happy to come to a meeting and bring back my thoughts, but again, if it has to come before the board anyway, it's better, you know, if we just work it out, I think, in public session.
Yeah, I think it's something that should be done in sunlight, but, Rob, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I do want to interject a couple of things here. Policy moving forward, that's wonderful, I get that, but I want to be very careful. Peter indicated that they brought a lawyer tonight. We've had very open discussions without lawyers. There is a contract between T-Mobile and the church that T-Mobile was supposed to put this road back to repair. Our building official has not signed off and will not sign off on T-Mobile's permit to take their equipment out, which they have taken the equipment out. We will not sign off on their permit of completion until they have obligated their agreement, their contractual agreement with the church. So there are two issues going forward. Is one thing, to Mr. Mamalt's point, if we want to establish policy, maintenance policy, paving policy, that's one issue. But I just want to be careful because there's contractual language and legal involvement with T-Mobile. So I do want to be a little careful on whose obligation has been what, because T-Mobile does have a clear obligation here. And so I just want to be a little cautious.
Correct. So I just
It's
want
kind of like a dual obligation, though, in
Well,
addition.
let's
Okay, all right,
not
go ahead.
reach that level of conclusion. And I don't, I don't think Attorney Chase's presence is a particularly litigious, well, it's nice to see you. But
Always careful lawyers, no offense.
he's more than well-known, I think is fair to say. Okay, so T-Mobile has to exit the property. How much money is the maintenance of all this Heather Ballpark, do you think? The paving and what it costs?
To repave it for
Yeah, just, no, for just to clean it up. Just generally, whoever did it.
on a yearly basis,
Just bring it up to repair right now. What's the cost?
probably $30,000.
Okay. And T-Mobile has until when to meet its obligations?
They're going to begin in about, they're going to start in about a month. I think they have to wait till the winter's over and can get equipment up there. But middle of April, they are targeting to be done. But what they're targeting to be done is not paving.
What are they targeting to be done?
Compacted aggregate, which is going to wash out. So that's why we've had multiple meetings with the town, they've been very cooperative, but there was some concept that this is between the church and the cellular company only. What I realized was that 100 feet is the crux of the entire, if we can solve that part of how we handle that 100 feet, then we can expand onto the other parts that the town is involved with. But that gets very complicated. So instead of it being between the church and the cellular company, when I found the law that says that that part was taken in 1933 by the water commissioners and they need to maintain it, that changed everything for us. So we wanted to make sure we're talking to the right people about how much responsibility you have over that 100 feet, because it's the most important part for our pilgrims to go down the hill.
Sure. Okay, I don't think we're gonna have an answer on this evening. I think it's probably gonna require a little conversation on our end. We will get you on a future agenda item, because I think it involves, we have to define what our actual obligations are, and we're just not gonna be able to.
Right, so I would like you to read, I think I sent it, I tried to send it to all of you. I put it into Word format, so it's not in the old 1917 format, but it's verbatim.
Yeah.
And I tried to send it to all of you so you could read the responsibilities you have once you take land and build on it. It doesn't get delegated off to someone else. It's your
I
responsibility.
have a question, but I'm going to direct it to our DPW director. Where we have a water line, in other instances, is it simply compacted aggregate, or is it paved with the water line underneath?
On a cross-country water line as this is?
Similar to this situation?
Some places don't have anything more than gravel. We don't have paved roads over all of our water lines.
Yeah, my whole road, the ancient way going across there is all gravel and has water lines underneath it.
The building permit applications in 2003 called out paved roads.
It did.
Yes, existing paved roads. So I don't understand where this is coming from, that it's going to be, the pavement's going to actually be removed. It's damaged and it's going to be removed and replaced with aggregate that has no bonding material.
So no, we appreciate it, Peter. Let
The
us.
2003
That's your
agreement?
lease, that's your lease with the cellular company.
That's the lease that called for
Included drawings
existing
that said it
paved
was
roads.
paved.
That would be
Gravel
used-
slash bit, bituminous is bituminous asphalt, it has a bonding material. Portions of it that we walk on are bonded.
Right.
Other portions on the side, 12, 15 feet out, is gravel. So it says gravel slash bit.
Was that also supplied to us? I know you sent me the law that where the water commissioners and the taking, but what about this 2003
That's
agreement?
that's the town's agreement.
Oh, that's the town's, yeah.
That's what you read.
Right, all right.
And so I have to add, I didn't want this all to be worked. I thought that's why if we had an offline meeting with two of you, we could get into the minutia of it. But the minutia is that your agreement with the cellular said that you would maintain the road.
Right.
So that actually puts the 100 feet into another category, not just, let's do something nice to it.
And I
It's put
appreciate-
it back to the way it was in 2003,
Right.
which was paved.
And I appreciate
So when
you.
he asked me the question, I wanted
No,
to say
Peter, I
that.
appreciate, there isn't, you're a gentleman, and I appreciate that you're trying not to put us on the spot, but the reality is, this is all gonna happen here anyway. So it's
Read the
just.
act that you
yeah.
took the land, you took
Right.
some land,
Yeah.
but you took a right-of-way, which we still own. And it's that right-of-way is what I'm talking about.
so the
we're not
buckets
trying to
here-
solve anything else.
No, that makes sense. So the buckets here are, what's T-Mobile gonna do? What's the town's obligation, and then what's the town's gonna do? And then it's over this 100 odd thing. And when you talk to the town, there's the quality of the easement as it's, is now, and what obligations we have to improve, if any, and then what obligations we have to going forward, if any. Is that all pretty fair outline?
Yes.
Okay.
I just don't understand how we'll solve it at this table in public meeting. I think
Oh.
it has to be more of a two,
I think you're just gonna be amazed by how collaborative we are, Peter.
Unfortunately, I think that a lot, but it happens.
Anything else?
Thank you.
All right,
Colin,
great.
do you have anything to add?
No.
No, you don't. So they're going to be a future agenda item, is
Yeah,
that correct?
let's get our
And
ducks in a row.
we'll
with it.
all review the different documents, so
Okay.
that, because some of us are a little more informed, because we didn't all get the benefit of these. documents. Did you too?
I did.
Yeah.
You did? Oh, well, you did as
I
well.
want to do my homework and go up there and,
Yeah, well, we're not gonna see a lot right now, I think.
so.
It's,
You know, it's, you walk up the thing, it is.
and it's in ill state of repair, I
Yeah,
will say that.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you. Thank
seeing
you. All right, those are our action items. We are moving,
Do we have the,
oh, yeah, we do.
Out.
Yeah,
right, is that, yeah.
we got added.
You deserve a badge for sitting through the whole meeting, right?
It wasn't on the agenda, I apologize. All right. All right. So we are, come on down. Thanks, Chase, I would have told us to get that up.
He's a little future politician.
That's right, see you learning. No.
Thank you.
So hello, I am Isabella McGrady, and I am here today representing Anna Burns for her Eagle project, as she unfortunately could not be here to address you guys herself. So Anna's project consists of installing a pier or a pedestal at the Heinz farm site for residents to be able to set up telescopes to view the night sky. It also includes a kiosk of sorts providing information on what they might see in the night sky at various times throughout the year. It would also include information on how to rent the telescope from the library, which would encourage more people who do not have access to a telescope and to use the town library. The Trails Committee and the Conservation Commission have approved this site. She is just waiting for OPACM approval. Never seen that one before.
No, it's okay.
If not approved, she will use, if they do not approve the use of Heinz Farm for this project, she's asking as an alternative for the town's permission to use a plot of land on Fisk Hill to use for her Eagle project. The location she's asking to use is 131 Fisk Hill Road in Sturbridge, which has been designated for recreational use, and fears that this would fit very well with that plan. Whether on Heinz Farm property or Fisk Hill property, both amateur and experienced local astronomers can be able to use this area to stargaze. And she plans to make the telescope pier and pedestal be accessible to a wide array of telescopes, allowing for many people to enjoy the space. And she also apologizes if this fear is rushed. She's under a bit of a time crunch, as she must complete this project by her 18th birthday, which is in April. So, as Chrissy handed out to you, it's a rough sketch of what the pedestal and the pier would look like. The dimensions are approximate, but it would not exceed a 3x3 footprint.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Robin, there's some back and forth on it today, and I was in a hearing, so I didn't really follow it too well. So what's going
So
on?
I think, so the plans, I believe, Anna brought the plans in, or got the plans into Lauren today. Lauren has sent those up to OPACM. I gather there was just some concern as to OPACM doesn't meet for a week or two, and will Anna still have time? Lauren has been working with her closely and thinks that the OPACM site is a really good site. There are some concerns about Fisk Hill because that plan hasn't been reviewed. We just got that today. And there are some outstanding issues with Fisk Hill right now. So we were just a little bit concerned about that because we have not had a chance to really look at that. We love the project. Laura, originally she came in for lead mine and there just weren't enough really good clear viewing areas. So we love the project and we're very hopeful. OPACM indicated in December to Lauren they didn't see a concern, but they needed to see the actual plans, which we got today.
Okay,
So
so,
I don't know if you want it as a backup, a pending kind of a thing, or, but
That's what
Fisk Hill is under your
She was
purview.
looking for it to be kind of a backup because OPACM has denied Eagle projects before because
Yes.
part of their deal is they don't want anything, no permanent
No
structures.
permanent structures, yeah.
And so they
Right.
have denied before, but Lauren was under the impression this one would be okay, so she's looking for an alternative placement if for some reason they do come back and say, no, you can't do this.
And that makes perfect sense to us as a backup. That will also give us some time to vet it in the meantime as a backup plan if something happens with
I
OPACM.
think that's a very good idea because I seem to well, I don't know, but I think the CR itself says no permanent structures. Did Lauren look at the CR?
Yes.
And it doesn't talk about prohibiting permanent
The
structures?
nature of permanent structure, I think, is what gives this some latitude.
Say that again?
The nature of this particular piece as permanent gives it latitude because it can be moved.
Oh.
It's not gonna
So
have a permanent footing, I take it?
Right.
I don't think
Okay.
it's,
Okay.
yeah, I
I
think
mean,
the anchor
I
is
hope they
the-
approve. I'm just saying, I think it is good to have a backup, so I would
Yeah.
support it at the, did they think about, so Fisk Hill is your second choice?
Second. So technically,
Did you
her
look at
first choice is
Riverlands too?
Dowdy. But Dowdy's
Yeah, the first
nowhere
choice is
near
Dowdy.
being established right now, because that would be, it's the furthest away from any of the town's light.
Oh, no, it's
got some
beautiful.
Great open spaces, so that is the ideal, but with what we have and what she has access to, Heinz Farm, especially because of the big open field, was one of her top. Lead Mine is just a little too crowded with trees, so she's trying to figure out which one would be good for that. And talking to Tom Chamberlain, there is a place where they did some logging up on Fisk, where, so it's nice and wide open right now. And so he had actually suggested that that might be a good alternative site for it if
And
Opaki doesn't come
there's
through.
hope that we could even move it to Dowdy down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
once
that's
we
what I
have
was
a
thinking.
master-
That's where people go anyway to stargaze.
Yeah.
Right, so that's, we're hopeful that in the long run, if, you know, and if it's at Heinz and it's perfect at Heinz and we can leave it there, that's great, but even if it's at Heinz and we find the Dowdy's better down the road, she can move it.
Well, yeah, it's a,
Or it
as
could be
it's a
another eco
non-permanent
project.
structure, I'm not too worried about it, I gotta be.
Yeah.
We gotta move it.
Really
We'll
shouldn't
move
be an
it.
issue, but we don't know, it is Opakam, so it's, you know, it's their choice. and
Okay, so
we have to-
we're looking to do, for a motion to approve it for Pecum, and then alternatively, Fisk Hill, assuming there's no, unforeseen issues? Is that right, Robin?
Yeah, I think that's fine, and as I said, we'll review Fisk Hill in the meantime.
Yeah, okay, do we have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Great, guys, nice
Luck to her.
job.
That's a
you.
great
Good luck.
project. Yeah, God
Thank you.
bless, yeah. Great.
Let Anna know so she can stop stressing.
Okay,
Is this the last thing this girl needs to do to get her Eagle Scout?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just get the project done. So she has all her merit
It's a
badges.
pretty big feat of
Yeah.
just becoming an Eagle Scout. It's really impressive.
Congratulations.
Yes.
great. All right, onwards and upwards.
She's one of the 7 originals that were started in this town, so.
Oh, wow.
She's the last one of the 7 originals to be able to get it.
Wow, that's really neat.
Uh-huh, that's very cool. All right, old business, Mary Lou.
Nothing.
Chase.
Nothing.
No,
I have none either. New business, Mary.
no, just at some point I retreat.
Yeah.
But that, we already know that, so
Yeah.
I don't have any new business, so Jamie.
No. Thank you.
Okay, correspondence, Mary?
What do we have?
Central Mass Regional Planning.
Want to do it? I don't have it in front of me. Hold on. Correspondence from CMRPC, a notice of a 26th district local technical assistant availability. I guess is that a job posting? I don't know. That's what we have.
Hold on, let me just look at my,
Do you know where that is?
oh, yeah, just informational.
Okay.
Just informational.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, they're providing funding for the District Local Technical Assistance Program. It enables technical assistance on eligible projects, and this year approximately $265,000 is available to support communities.
And I will say, they are helping us with the battery storage legislation right now, so we're very appreciative to CMRPC for all that they do.
Great. Thanks, Rob. Okay, February 2nd meeting minutes. Anybody have any edits? Anything? All right, hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve the February 2nd, 2026 meeting minutes.
Second?
All those in favor? And one abstention. Okay, then we are getting to,
I have to hang up and come back on for exec session, so I'll meet you
exactly,
after.
yeah. So we have, Mary, if you want to read the,
I'll make a motion that we move into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, and to conduct collective bargaining session or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, and the chair so declares, and not to reconvene in open session.
So declared. Mary Lou, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes, pending no citizens.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
I forgot I took the
yes,
citizens part.
Yes.
Yes, and I vote yes too. Sorry, Charlie.